Hi everybody, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to go over something that I find very interesting and I actually like. So, I heard some interesting news over the weekend. It finally happened. America is getting an official language. So over the weekend, I saw a news report that Trump is going to sign an executive order to make English the official language of America. I don't know if he has since done that or when he's going to do that or what, but I know that he's at least going to do that if he hasn't already. And I like that idea. I mean, we might as well. The vast majority of this country, of America, already speaks only English anyways. So what's the issue? And by the way, I don't understand those who criticize this. I don't understand why this would be considered racist. Why is it okay for other countries to have an official language, but somehow it is racist for America to have an official language? I don't understand why it's taken this long for America to get an official language, honestly. I mean, what year was this country founded again? And yet it took this long to get an official language? And people try to claim it's because of diverse cultures and blah. I don't understand what that has to do with anything. I mean, it's about a language barrier. All we're saying is people from diverse culture should know English. That does not mean they should speak English all the time and give up their native language. Nobody is saying that. Making English the official language does not mean foreigners who come to this country should give up their native language. That is not what that means. Nobody is saying that. Nobody is suggesting that. And look at all these communities in America that only speak one language, that don't even speak English at all. What if somebody in those communities, from one of those communities, had an emergency and had no way to communicate with anybody because, oops, that person, you're in a life and death emergency, and the only person you can talk to or attempt to talk to don't even speak a word. You can't understand a word they say. They can't understand a word you're saying. It's about a language barrier. That's what this is about. And maybe one of the reasons that we have all these communities that speak only Spanish or whatever the case may be, it's because America has no official language, and people have been using that as an excuse not to learn English. Well, I mean, again, even if it wasn't an official language, you're already in a country where the vast majority of the population speaks only English. Official language or not, it would be beneficial to know English if you were in a country where the vast majority of that country speaks English. Same way with if you go to, say, Japan. It would be beneficial for you to know some Japanese to get around, because what if you get lost? And that same scenario could apply to foreigners in America. What if a Mexican who speaks only Spanish gets lost and there's nobody around who understands the word they're saying? There's all kinds of scenarios. And what if it's, again, a life or death emergency situation comes up? So it would be beneficial for those communities that only speak Spanish or French or whatever the case may be if they know English. The key word here, know. English. K-N-O-W. Okay? They could still keep their native language. They could still speak their native language. Okay? Nobody's against that. In fact, if I'm out in public and I see someone like speaking some foreign language and I can't understand the words they're saying, I don't care. It's none of my business what they say because they're not talking directly to me. Honest, they're not talking directly to me. I don't care what they're saying and what language they say it in. Okay? Now, if they try to talk to me in that language, it's going to be a language barrier, and I'm not going to understand a single word they're saying. That's just the truth. I do not understand why there's so much opposition. I do not understand why there's so much hate. I think even before Trump, I think this kind of idea has been viewed as racist, especially on stuff on what would you do? They did scenarios and about people who think that Mexicans should speak English or they should know English, and apparently even suggesting that was deemed as racist by the general public. Seriously? Again, foreigners, they come to this country, they, Mexicans or whatever, or Russians or French people, whenever they come to this country and they want to live here, how are they going to get by if they're the only person in that town that speaks their language, nobody else in that town speaks their native language? How are they going to get by? If somebody's from a country like Iran that you've never heard of, they speak a language like you never heard of. They move to a town, where again nobody's heard that language, nobody's heard that country, and the person from that country does not speak a word of English. There was a language barrier. There was a communication barrier. There's no way to accurately communicate with this person. You can't tell what language it is. That person is now in trouble. Because, well, how are you going to communicate with that person? How's that person going to get by? How's that person going to get a job? How's that person going to make new friends and meet new people and all that stuff? It is very beneficial for foreigners when they come to this country if they know English, regardless if English is an official language or not. Okay, which I'm glad that it finally became an official language because it might as well. The vast majority of the country already speaks English. Nothing is really going to change. All those diverse communities, what's stopping them from learning English? In fact, do they already know some English? If they already know English, and they're already very good at it, then what's the problem? They don't. That does not mean English only, English exclusively. Okay, that's not what that means. Okay, that does not mean that. And actually, I kind of wonder if something that English only, I kind of wonder if that would also violate some kind of religious rule too, because because there are some religions that have supernatural languages. So, again, nobody is saying that you have to give up their native language. Okay? We're just saying that you should know English. It will be good for you. It would be beneficial to know English. Nobody's saying that you have to speak English only, English exclusively. Nobody's saying that. That's not what that's making English the official language does not mean that. It does not mean English only, English exclusively. You can't speak any other language. That's not what that means. Okay, that is not what that means. I don't know where people are getting their information from. None of these objections, they're not even That's not even happening. You listen to people, why people object. Like they're objecting to stuff that they don't even understand. Nobody is. It's weird to object to something based on assumptions. Okay, based on they have it's all these different cultures and well, so what's gonna change? All these different cultures in the United States can still coexist. They can still this changes nothing. And again, how are these people gonna getting by in a country where the vast majority of the population speaks English? What's going to change, realistically, what's going to change if the vast majority of the country already speaks English only? And then they make English the official language of America. What's going to change? Nothing. Okay? All these diverse cultures can still exist, and they can learn English. Okay? They can learn to speak some English, but they don't have to give up their native language. Okay? When they're inside their communities, they have every right to speak whatever language they feel like. They can speak their native language. It doesn't matter. Whatever they want. Okay? But when they go outside their community and go to some place where pretty much everybody speaks English only, well, what's going to happen if they get lost? See, these are some real questions. So making English the official language is very beneficial, and I don't understand why it took so long for it to happen. And I guarantee you that this is going to be played as racist for some reason. Never mind that it's okay for other countries to have official languages of their own, but we can't have an official language ourselves. Like, it seems to be this weird double standard. It doesn't even make sense. The objections don't even make sense. Okay, the objections, what the things that they're objecting to, that doesn't even make any sense because nobody's saying otherwise. All these diverse communities can still exist. All these diverse cultures can still exist. Nothing's really going to change. So what's the big deal?